Albert Camus was an existential writer and philosopher, but to me, he was much more. To me, Camus was the best damn table-hopping close-up magician that ever lived. When I watched him roll a silver coin across his knuckles, or vanish one of his unfiltered death sticks, it didn't bother me that we were living in a random universe ruled by chaos. As a matter of fact, I liked it. Would you join me? It was the spring of 1939. I was living in Paris doing whatever odd job came along. Not many came along, but in poverty there is clarity. Even if it meant going to bed hungry, I would not do mine. I was in a cafe one evening, treating myself to a double espresso, minding my own business, just settling in for some jazz and some free verse poetry, when a man in a dark suit approached my table. He had the pensive eyes of a philosopher and the slick hair of a cornball magician, and he asked me if I'd like to see a card trick. I told him thanks, but no thanks. I told him I was waiting for my grandmother. I told him I would rather eat crêpes with les bourgeois than see a card trick. But Albert Camus was a professional. He just smiled as he ran through some fancy shuffles and cuts and flourishes. He was competent with a pack of baseboards, but what really knocked me out was his patter. I still remember every word. The realization that card tricks are absurd cannot be an end, but only a beginning. Pick a card. He offered me a fan of cards. I pulled one out and listened to his instructions. Magicians are creatures who spend their lives trying to convince themselves that their existence is not absurd. Remember your card and show it around. As I did this, he turned away and continued. Yet the greatness of a magician lies in the decision to be more absurd than the human condition. Return your card to the pack. I returned the card, and he began to shuffle feverishly, but without passion. As he continued, nobody realizes that some people expend tremendous energy merely to be normal. Cut the cards and complete the cut. Magic tricks are meaningless, but worth doing, provided one recognizes their meaninglessness. With this, he took one last drag and stamped his cigarette out on my table. I had to admit, it was building nicely. Hand me the cards, please. With indifferent brutality, Albert Camus tossed the pack of cards toward the rack. While they fluttered down around him, he reached out and snatched a single card. With a flick of the wrist, he asked, "Is this your card?" I shook my head. He shrugged and said, "Fiction is the lie through which we tell the truth." He handed me his business card and said, "It's an old card. Lately, I'm mostly doing mentalism." He told me he also had a great act for kids' parties. I looked at the card and I read it out loud.
Camus, King of Conjurers. I know you picked the Two of Diamonds.
To this day, I still think about something Camus said to me. He said the realization that card tricks are absurd cannot be an end, but only a beginning. I still remember the card I picked that day. It was the Two
Two of Diamonds.